Welcome to the deep dive. You give us your sources. We pull out the key insights. The goal is always to give you a real understanding, without that feeling of being overwhelmed.
Exactly. Just the essentials, but explored properly.
So today we're digging into excerpts you sent from Cosmognostica, an introduction to modern American mysticism. It's by Kelly of Seattle, WA.
Right. And our mission, you could say, is to really unpack the core ideas here. We're looking at concepts like the cosmos, consciousness, law, love.
And how they all connect, yeah. Sounds pretty deep.
It is, but hopefully we can make it accessible. Think of it as your maybe express route to grasping these mystical concepts.
Okay, let's jump in. The book starts with this really interesting question. If I am, but not this body, then what is this body, if not a wondrous work of art?
It sets the stage immediately, doesn't it? Questioning that relationship between self and body.
It does. And it goes on calling the body a masterful orchestra and the self the expression of its love.
Yeah, suggesting it's not just like a mitsut, it's a vehicle, an instrument maybe, for something more fundamental, like love.
So to get us grounded, the author provides a glossary. Let's start there.
Good idea. Foundational terms first.
Okay, first up, cosmos, defined as the unity of mind, law, and creation, and the changeless within change.
Right. So it's everything, the ultimate reality, but with this constant core, even while everything else is shifting, like the underlying field.
The canvas, maybe, on which everything else happens.
Yeah, that works. The constant that allows for all the variation.
Next, cosmic mind. This is the contemplations of the cosmos,
Yeah.
the imaginative source of all ideas.
The creative spark, infinite potential, where all possibilities, all thoughts, all forms kind of bubble up from.
Like an endless library of blueprints, you said before we started. I like that.
Exactly.
Then the law of the cosmos, the mechanism for how the cosmic mind works on creation. It's universal and immutable, unchanging rules.
Immutable is the key word there, yeah. These aren't suggestions. They're the basic operating principles, like physics, but maybe more fundamental.
The rules of the game.
Right. Always consistent, always in effect.
And finally, creation, the physical manifestation of the mind's contemplations. And it's always in a state of becoming.
Yeah, so that's the world we experience, right? Constantly unfolding, changing, the result of the mind's imagination working through the law. It's dynamic, a process.
Okay, so we have these core pieces, cosmos, mind, law, creation. How do they actually, play together?
Well, the way it's presented is the cosmic mind uses the law to bring its ideas, its imagination, into being within creation.
Like your architect analogy.
Yeah.
The mind is the architect, ideas are blueprints, law is the method, creation is the building.
Exactly that. And underpinning it all is substance.
Substance.
Right.
The basic stuff everything's made of, molded by ideas via the law.
Yeah, the raw potential. Formless until it's shaped by the plan and the tools, the law.
And objects, the things we see, are just these temporary forms that ideas take. They appear, exist for a while, then dissolve back.
Nothing physical lasts forever in this view. It's all a cycle. Manifestation, participation, dissolution, constant transformation.
Okay, that cycle leads us towards consciousness. The text defines a creature as a living object that's evolved so the mind can operate within creation.
So creatures, including us presumably, are sort of specialized instruments, tools for the mind to experience the physical world.
A unique lens, yeah. But importantly, the body itself isn't conscious.
Right, it's the vehicle. Consciousness is defined as the cosmic mind being used by individual creatures, and it's shaped by our memories and contemplation.
That's a huge point. Our awareness isn't totally separate then.
No, it's presented as a focused expression of that larger mind, but filtered through our personal history, our remembered experiences.
And contemplation is key to that shaping.
Definitely. Without memory and that active reflection, contemplation, we wouldn't have this individual sense of self, this consciousness.
So contemplation is defined as communion with the mind, focusing creative force on memories to gain knowledge and understand the self. Sounds pretty active.
It is. It's not just idle thinking. It's a deliberate digging into our experiences, seeking meaning, connecting with that deeper source. It's how we move from just having memories to actually understanding them.
Okay, what about ideas? They're described as eternal, existing in the cosmic mind, and they can manifest specific results if we consciously direct them, setting the law in motion.
Like seeds of potential, yeah. The cosmic mind holds infinite ideas. When we focus our conscious attention on one,
We plant the seed.
kind of. We activate its potential to become real within creation, always operating through the law.
And thought. That's an individualized idea pulled into our consciousness. It gets stronger through contemplation and manifests.
Right. And interestingly, it says all thought comes from the same mind, but it manifests differently in each of us.
Like different radios tuning into the same signal but playing it through their own speakers.
That's a good way to put it. Our individual consciousness shapes the universal ideas we access.
Let's look at force, knowledge, and truth. Force is the movement of consciousness, the substance of mind, and it operates the law, like a fundamental energy.
Yeah, the dynamism behind everything, the power driving consciousness, moving ideas, letting the law affect creation.
Knowledge is our collection of contemplated memories, our conscious grasp of the cosmos relative to our experience, sourced from the cosmic mind.
So knowledge isn't just raw data. It's the insight we get from really thinking about our experiences and connecting them to the big picture. Wisdom earned through reflection.
And truth, absolute, universal, not affected by our desires. Available in the mind's ideas and through observing the law. Objective reality, then.
That seems to be the implication. There are fundamental truths out there, regardless of what we personally want or believe. We discover it through mindful attention and contemplation.
Okay, next cluster. Cause, intuition, science. The chain of cause is laid out. Cosmos, mind, law, creation affects creature experience.
A clear flow, showing how our daily experiences trace all the way back to the ultimate source. Everything's connected.
Intuition is described as direct cosmic communication. Knowing truth instantly, without reasoning.
Like a shortcut.
Yeah, because cause and effect share that same cosmic origin. There's an inherent connection allowing these flashes of knowing.
Because it all stems from the same place.
And science. It's based on demonstrating how the law works, but acknowledges that theories go beyond what we currently understand.
So science is seen as a valid way to explore the law in action, but it's not the whole story. It's an ongoing discovery process.
Makes sense. Now, individuality and imagination. Individuality exists at the level of consciousness, but back in the mind, it's all universal.
Right. So each of us is a unique point of view, a unique experience of the mind within creation.
We're expressions of this unified consciousness.
Exactly. And imagination. It's described as cosmic. The power that brought forth creation in the cosmic mind.
Whoa. So imagination isn't just something we do. It's fundamental to reality itself.
That's the idea. It's the creative wellspring. Our own imagination is just a little reflection of that massive, universal creative force.
The text uses a metaphor of light and darkness. Cosmos is light, and change within it is darkness, but darkness is just the absence of light, not a thing itself.
Yeah, classic mystical analogy. The fundamental reality is pure being, pure light. Change happens within that field, like shadows where the light isn't.
And within that initial darkness, the first manifestation of light is love. Then mind, law, creation follow. All aspects of the cosmos light. It even calls this Gadi, the first breath.
It's a kind of creation narrative, isn't it? Starting with love as the primal impulse, leading sequentially to consciousness, the rules, and the physical world.
Fascinating. Okay, so the path to understanding this stuff is presented as a journey through a wilderness with the cosmic mind as the guide.
A common trope, yeah. The quest for wisdom.
Ignorance is the wilderness, and selfish desires are the fog obscuring the path.
And it emphasizes that we have to do the work. Individual conscious contemplation is needed to clear that fog and find the way.
It says staying on the path requires love, and it's never too late to get back on it. Love seems absolutely central here.
It really does. Not just an emotion, but a fundamental principle, a guiding force keeping us aligned.
Okay, the text includes a couple of diagrams. Diagram 1, flow of self. It shows relationships between selfishness, selflessness, self, mind, creation, consciousness, creature, law, with contemplation right in the middle.
Yeah, it's a visual map of how these concepts connect. Contemplation is like the central processing unit, linking our individual experience to the bigger cosmic picture.
Diagram 2, cosmogony, shows the process starting from cosmos stimulating creation via law, then moving through creature senses, brain, conscious observation, memory.
Then contemplation links back to cosmic ideas, leading finally to knowledge and understanding. It's showing that cycle again.
Experience, reflection, connection, understanding.
Pretty much.
Let's really dig into conscious contemplation now. The text stresses how vital this is for understanding everything. Mind, cosmos, creation. It's more than just thinking, right?
Definitely. It's presented as the key, like tuning into a specific frequency of awareness, a focused, deliberate reflection.
It even says when we contemplate the cosmic mind, it contemplates us back. That's Quite a statement.
What?
A reciprocal awareness.
It suggests a dynamic interplay. Our focused attention somehow invites a response, or maybe allows us to perceive the mind's inherent awareness of us, a mirroring.
And this contemplation, it helps us spot our own selfish desires, right? And align our consciousness more with the cosmic mind. It's a tool for inner refinement.
Exactly. You bring your thoughts, your motives out into the open under the light of conscious reflection. Then you can start to see what's ego-driven versus what aligns with, a broader understanding.
And it's how we draw ideas from the cosmic mind into our awareness. But then action is needed to manifest them.
Right. Contemplation gives you the insight, the blueprint. Action, guided by that insight and aligned with the law, is what makes it tangible in the world.
The text admits consistent right action is hard. It emphasizes contemplating each moment, like a continuous mindfulness practice.
Yeah, a call for present awareness, constantly checking in, trying to align thoughts and actions with your deepest understanding. It's not easy.
It suggests meditative rituals to quiet the consciousness for this kind of contemplation.
Makes sense. You need to create that mental space, that stillness, to go beyond the everyday chatter and access deeper insights.
There's this idea of a scale of love, selfish to selfless. And truth and good always lean towards selfless. It's like a moral compass.
Yeah, a framework for ethics.
Yeah.
Asking yourself, where does this action fall on that spectrum? Is it coming from a place of connection or separation?
False thoughts apparently arise from selfish desires. And contemplation is how we sacrifice them. That's a strong word, sacrifice.
It is. It implies letting go of something, giving up those ego-driven thoughts for the sake of clarity and alignment. It highlights the transformative potential of contemplation.
It also distinguishes between observation and contemplation, and notes how rarely we contemplate contemplation itself, thinking about how we think.
Right. We're usually focused outward or on our immediate thoughts, but turning that attention inward, examining the process of reflection itself, that can lead to some deep self-awareness, metacognition.
And this conscious self-reflection lets us observe our own inner activity and understand the interconnectedness of our experience.
You become aware of your own awareness, basically, which deepens your understanding of yourself and your place.
And because consciousness and contemplation, when focused on themselves, lack external objects for comparison, this keeps us within the cosmic mind.
That's an interesting point. It suggests that this inward focus connects us directly to something universal, the source of consciousness, rather than getting lost in comparing external things.
The section wraps up, say, we contemplate because we're conscious. And this deep focus separates us from the creature self, the instincts, while still allowing self-observation.
Yeah, it's like stepping back, gaining perspective on our immediate reactions, observing ourselves with more clarity, a balance between the individual and the universal aspect.
Okay, moving to observation and experience. Observing requires participation, it says. It creates relationships. We're not just passive viewers.
Right. Observation is an act of engagement. It connects the observer and the observed.
And contemplation links these observations together so we can understand the connections.
Yeah.
It bridges seeing and knowing.
Observation gives the raw data. Contemplation makes sense of it, finds the patterns, reveals the meaning.
Observing feelings relates to the self, but observing objects doesn't necessarily. That highlights the personal nature of emotion.
Feelings are inherently our experience. Observing a rock is different, more detached initially.
But contemplating any observation, feelings, or objects leads to specific knowledge, drawn from cosmic ideas. Reflection turns observation into insight.
Yeah, by thinking about what you observe, you connect it to that larger framework, the cosmic understanding. You go deeper than the surface.
And understanding observations through contemplation helps us align with cosmic unity. It's a path towards integration.
By making sense of our individual bits of experience within that big cosmic context, we find our place within the whole. It all starts to fit together.
Okay, memory. It's the source of our experienced knowledge, formed by contemplating observations. Our past, reflected upon, shapes what we know.
Right. It's not just having experiences, it's processing them through memory and contemplation that builds our understanding.
And knowledge isn't just from new experiences. We can gain more by contemplating memories we already have.
Absolutely. Revisiting past experiences with new understanding through contemplation can yield fresh insights. You're not just adding new data, you're deepening your understanding of the old data too.
So contemplation connects memory and observation. And when that connection is linked with cosmic ideas, that's knowledge.
It's the integration point, bringing together what happened, memory, what's happening now, observation, and the underlying principles, cosmic ideas.
Understanding creation comes from observing the law in action, seeing how things work physically. But understanding the cosmos comes from contemplative union with the cosmic mind.
Two related paths. One outward-focused, observing the physical world and its rules. The other inward-focused, connecting with the source of consciousness itself.
And it stresses practicing what we understand to deepen that understanding. It's not just intellectual.
Right. You have to live it, apply the principles, see how they work in practice. That's how understanding really takes root and grows.
Lastly here, perceived limitations in creation aren't real limits, just limits of our understanding. That's quite empowering, isn't it?
It is. It suggests that as our understanding expands, our perception of what's possible might also expand. The boundaries aren't fixed.
Let's talk about ignorance and evil. Evil isn't presented as a thing in itself, but as the effects of ignorance of the law.
That's a significant framing. It shifts evil from some external force to an internal lack of understanding. Our actions have harmful consequences when we don't grasp how things really work.
And evil incarnate is equated with fear. Wow.
Yeah, that links it directly to a psychological state. Fear often drives harmful actions, so seeing it as the core of what we call evil, that's powerful.
Calling something good or evil is more about our relationship to it, our perspective, not an inherent quality of the thing itself.
Our judgments are often subjective, yeah.
Yeah.
The text pushes us to look beyond our immediate reactions and understand the underlying dynamics.
So evil is a mistaken understanding, stemming from unchecked imagination,
Right.
whereas fear is more basic for self-preservation.
Right. Misguided thoughts versus a fundamental instinct, which implies contemplation is crucial for guiding imagination and managing fear properly.
It offers a practical definition. Good does no harm, evil harms.
Simple.
Very straightforward. An ethical guideline based purely on impact. But then it says, since all creature existence involves dissolution, some form of harm maybe, no creature can be wholly good. The aim is just to minimize harm.
That's a realistic, perhaps even sobering perspective. Acknowledging our existence has consequences, the goal becomes ethical harm reduction.
Let's loop back to law and creation again. Suffering is ignorance of the law, we heard that. Understanding alleviates suffering.
Right. If you understand the rules of the game, you're less likely to make moves that lead to painful outcomes.
We use the law, we don't create it. And understanding must come before effective use.
We have to work within the existing system. We can't change the fundamental principles, but by understanding them, we can align ourselves and navigate more effectively.
The law manifests the results of our contemplated observations, driven by our conscious self. Our inner world has outer effects.
Yeah, our focused thoughts, intentions, understanding, they actively shape our reality through the workings of the law.
And belief influences how the law appears to operate. Our expectations shape perception.
That suggests a really potent connection between consciousness, belief, and manifestation. What we hold to be true can influence our experience of reality.
Creation's constant becoming is stressed again. Clinging to a static self is futile.
Gotta go with the flow. Resisting inevitable change just causes friction and suffering. Embracing it is key.
There's this idea of an obligation of the created to creation, to create something else, fulfilled by right action.
Like we're part of a continuous cycle. We receive existence, and our obligation is to contribute back through positive, constructive action.
And every object manifests from cosmic mind ideas. Manifestation requires ideas.
Ideas are the fundamental blueprints. Nothing physical comes into being without that underlying conceptual basis in the mind.
Okay, let's dive deeper into creature and self. Creatures are inherently in harmony with universal unity. Individuality emerges at conscious observation.
So we're fundamentally connected, part of the whole. Our sense of being a separate individual arises with our specific point of conscious awareness, both connected and unique.
Consciousness is the cosmic mind within the creature self. And the creature self is individualized law acting on creation's substance. That's a dense definition.
It is. It's saying we're a blend. Universal consciousness, mind, expressing itself through a specific physical form, creature self, that operates according to natural laws. Law on the basic stuff of reality, substance.
Our level of consciousness depends on the memories we have available to contemplate. The body transmits experiences, but it doesn't think.
Right. The body is the input device, the sensor. The mind, through consciousness and contemplation of memories, does the processing and understanding.
The creature self is a tool, needing the cosmic mind for action. And that mind is available everywhere, instantly, at thought.
So we're never cut off from the source. That power, that awareness, is always accessible if we turn our attention to it.
The text lists 5 obligations for every conscious creature. Let's see. Unique observations, contributions to creation, minimizing harm, happiness, and sacrifice.
A kind of ethical checklist for living consciously within this framework.
Selfish desire comes up again as a hindrance to understanding. Got to work on that ego.
Seems to be a recurring theme. Letting go of self-centered wants opens the door to deeper insight.
Contemplation becomes individualized in service of understanding, filtered through our unique creature self.
Yeah, while the mind is universal, the process of understanding through contemplation is necessarily personal, shaped by our specific perspective and experiences.
It mentions collective rituals and sacrifices, and suggests there's ignorance in just abstaining from them. Interesting point about community practice.
It implies there might be value in shared traditions, ways of connecting with these principles or fulfilling obligations together, not just an individual path.
Right and wrong apply to consciousness, because that's where unique observation and choice happen. Morality requires awareness.
Unlike creatures acting purely on instinct or law, our consciousness gives us the capacity for moral discernment and therefore responsibility.
Every moment is a choice. Act from contemplation or act from ignorance.
We're constantly at that crossroads. Are we acting mindfully from understanding or just reacting out of habit or unawareness?
And conscious contemplation strips away selfishness.
Yeah.
It's the path toward that selfless alignment.
By examining our motives honestly, we can gradually untangle ourselves from ego-driven patterns.
Okay, nuances of idea, action, experience. Ideas are eternal in the mind. Words are just vessels.
Imperfect containers. The essence of the idea transcends any specific language used to describe it.
Contemplation lets us use these cosmic ideas to grasp wholeness, unity.
Right. By reflecting on these fundamental concepts, we move beyond our fragmented individual view towards a sense of connection with the all.
Present actions shape the future, influenced by our level of understanding or ignorance. Choices have consequences, obviously.
What we do now, based on how much we understand, directly creates the conditions for our future experiences.
There's a distinction between acting with conscious understanding of motivation versus acting without it. Intentionality matters.
Yeah, actions driven by awareness and clear intentions seem to have a different quality, a greater potential for learning and growth than impulsive or unconscious actions.
Understanding our motives is key to being an active participant in creation, not just a passive reactor.
It shifts us from being puppets of circumstance or desire to being conscious co-creators, engaging intentionally with the process of reality unfolding.
3 motivators listed: understanding from the conscious self, desire from the creature self, and feeling, the relationship between them.
So our actions arise from this interplay: rational thought, bodily needs, instincts, and the emotional bridge between them.
Contemplation weaves these motivations together, helping us understand the significance of our actions.
Reflection allows us to see why we did something, considering all those factors, and grasp its place in the larger pattern of our lives and the cosmos.
Actions motivated by love are said to align with cosmic law. Other motivations, even for the same outward action, have limited observational value until contemplated.
So, the why behind the what is crucial. Actions coming from a place of love, connection, compassion are inherently aligned. Actions from fear, desire, obligation. They might look the same, but the inner alignment isn't there until we reflect on them. Intention is paramount.
Moral acts are freely chosen, with primary conceptual intuition as the motive, guided by that inner knowing.
True morality, in this view, isn't just rule following. It springs from a deep, intuitive grasp of what's right, acted upon freely.
While the creature self acts by law, instinct, the conscious self has to contemplate community laws too, navigating universal versus social rules.
We live in both realms. We have our innate connection to cosmic law, but we also exist in societies with human-made rules we need to consider consciously.
We experience consciousness and creation directly, but not the cosmic mind or the law itself. We only see their effects.
Right. We experience the results, the manifestations, but the underlying source and the operating principle are inferred, known through contemplation, not direct perception.
Experience is our individual observation of the universal. We only know the effects of creation's cause, limited but unique perspective.
Each of us has a unique window onto the universal reality, but we're always seeing the effects, not the ultimate cause directly.
Experience before contemplation lacks ideas, relationships, context. It's just raw sensory stimuli.
Pure sensation. It only becomes meaningful, understandable when we process it through consciousness, relate it to other experiences, contemplate its significance.
Conscious contemplation allows us to exist beyond creature experience by imagining ourselves within our observations, mental time travel, or perspective shifting.
Yeah, we can use our minds, our imagination, informed by contemplation, to step outside our immediate sensory input and explore possibilities, different viewpoints, the past, the future.
Shared physical reality is based on agreement of imagined experiences. Disagreements create barriers. Reality is partly consensual.
It suggests that our collective understanding, our shared agreement on how to interpret experiences, plays a huge role in constructing the reality we inhabit together. Conflict arises when those interpretations diverge significantly.
The limits of sensory experience are emphasized. Everything's interconnected, even if we can't perceive it all.
Our senses give us a very narrow slice of reality. There's a vast, interconnected web beyond what we can directly see, hear, touch.
Okay, core principles. Love, happiness, truth, desire. Consciousness is a point in creation, immersed in the cosmic mind's love, which we can embody.
So we're fundamentally swimming in this sea of love, and we have the choice to tune into it, express it, become conduits for it.
Joy from love is distinguished from pleasure, from desire. Happiness is linked to joy-driven understanding.
Happiness isn't just fleeting pleasure based on getting what we want. It's a deeper, more stable state arising from acting out of love and gaining understanding.
Love bridges the individual and universal. There's cosmic love, mind, and selfish love, survival. Selfishness arises when love of self goes beyond necessity.
It's about balance again. Self-preservation requires some self-focus, some selfish love. But when that becomes excessive, focused only on the self to the exclusion of the whole, that's where imbalance, or selfishness in the negative sense, comes in.
Love for all is love, is stated as the law, the fundamental operating principle.
That really puts love at the absolute center of this cosmology. It's the underlying reality and the guiding rule.
Happiness comes from happiness for all life, contrasting with pleasure's limited scope. True fulfillment is communal.
It suggests genuine happiness isn't purely personal, but tied to the well-being of the whole system, a sense of connection and shared flourishing.
A happy creature acts with contemplated, understood motivations, free from external influence and internal desire. Striving for this balance is happiness.
Happiness is the process, the active striving for that inner alignment and freedom, not just a final state to be achieved. Acting consciously, free from compulsion.
All creatures inherently understand what's right. Things like living, enjoying, loving, health, creativity. These align with the law. Innate wisdom.
There's a built-in compass pointing towards life-affirming actions that are naturally in harmony with the cosmic order.
Truth exists in the cosmic mind as conscious understanding of ideas. Creation involves right-wrong application. Imagined truths need contemplation within the cosmic mind.
So absolute truth resides in the realm of pure mind consciousness. Down here in creation, it's more about applying those truths correctly or incorrectly in specific situations. We need to check our ideas against that deeper source.
There's a correspondence test for truth. What is true in one instance is true in all instances. Universal consistency.
A principle should hold universally to be considered a fundamental truth. If it only applies sometimes, it's likely a relative truth or a misunderstanding.
Good is defined as what we will want to do after conscious contemplation, not just what we feel we ought to do. Inner alignment again.
True goodness springs from genuine understanding and desire that arises from contemplation, not just from a sense of duty or obligation imposed from outside.
Desire is necessary for survival within creation's unity. Taking what's needed, giving what's required. It should be cultivated productively by law.
Desire isn't inherently bad. It's a fundamental drive for survival and interaction. The key is to understand it and channel it constructively, in alignment with the law, rather than letting it run wild or trying to eliminate it completely.
Becoming aware of opposition creates divisions, but never satisfies desire for more than direct perception. Chasing external things is ultimately unsatisfying.
Yeah, focusing on us versus them or accumulating external things might provide temporary satisfaction, but it doesn't address the deeper yearning, which can only be met through inner understanding and connection, not just sensory experience.
Let's look at pleasure, morality, community, the social context, happiness, from acting by law, versus pleasure from selfish desire. We've touched on this.
Right. One is deep fulfillment, the other temporary gratification. Different sources, different effects.
Choosing pleasure over happiness means prioritizing own desires, or maybe pleasing others just to get something back. Self-serving motivation.
Yeah, acting for immediate gratification or social gain without considering the deeper principles or the well-being of the whole moves us away from true happiness.
Morality can regulate behavior without understanding motivations, just based on acknowledged authority. Different kinds of morality.
Right. There's morality based on selfish desire, what benefits me, morality based on irrational authority, just following orders, and then morality based on conscious contemplation and alignment with law, understanding why something is right.
Good, right. Truth need no justification. Justification is reserved for selfish desire. Interesting.
Things that are fundamentally good or true are self-evident upon reflection. We only need to make excuses or justifications when our motives are questionable, rooted in ego.
Community laws are often built on contradiction to cosmic law. And acting by cosmic law might mean violating community laws. Potential conflict there.
Acknowledging that human societies don't always align with deeper universal principles. Following your conscience, based on cosmic law, might put you at odds with social norms or regulations.
But community laws originate from ancestors who had the same innate understanding available to us today. Forgetting this makes us reactive.
We shouldn't just blindly accept or reject community laws. We have the same capacity for understanding as those who created them. We should engage with them consciously, understanding their origins and purpose.
We need to contemplate community laws against cosmic law, with love as the primary motivation, not just obedience or resistance.
It calls for a nuanced approach. Use love and understanding as the filter when evaluating societal rules. Don't just follow or fight. Discern.
True freedom comes from within. Morality exists within conscious creature communities. Other creatures just align with law naturally. Our unique burden and privilege.
As conscious beings capable of choice, we grapple with morality in a way other creatures don't. That freedom requires responsibility.
We experience cosmic mind in contemplation. Community laws come from individuals in authority, but all members have equal potential for understanding.
Wisdom isn't solely held by those in power. Everyone has access to the cosmic mind through contemplation and can attain understanding, democratization of insight.
Life's purpose is self-set. The creature self just participates. Community laws need a community and become brittle if not reevaluated.
We define our own meaning, and societal structures need ongoing review and adaptation to remain healthy and relevant. They aren't static truths.
Acting by cosmic law requires the conscious motivation of love, surpassing community laws or external authority if necessary. Love as the ultimate arbiter.
When there's a conflict, love, as understood through contemplation of cosmic law, takes precedence over human rules or dictates.
Creatures share community characteristics, influencing actions unconsciously. Conscious understanding prevents this from impeding alignment with cosmic law.
We absorb traits and habits from our groups, often without realizing it. Awareness allows us to see these influences and choose to act from deeper principles if needed, rather than just conforming automatically.
Okay, alchemy, transformation. Transmute means changing the fundamental nature of something.
Not just surface change, but a deep shift, in essence.
Observing creation shows constant change. Contemplation reveals constant becoming, with nothing truly separate.
So observation shows things shifting form. Contemplation reveals the underlying unity and continuous flow, everything interconnected, always transforming.
3 ways manifestation occurs: from external substances, from self-substance or imaginatively, and 3 ways to create: external processes, internal processes, or imaginatively.
It outlines different modes of bringing things into being, involving physical materials, our own being, inner mental states, and pure imagination. We have multiple creative avenues.
Experiences are permanent in the mind, but consciousness tied to the creature might dissolve. What persists?
The record of experience, the knowledge gained, endures within the cosmic mind, but the individual point of consciousness associated with a specific body might not, unless.
Unless. The question is posed: how to tie consciousness to the mind? Answer: untie it from the creature first.
Whoa. So the path to permanence, or connection with the eternal mind, involves detaching our sense of self from the purely physical, mortal creature aspect.
Understanding our motivations is the first step in that untying process. self-awareness again.
Knowing why we do things helps us see what's driven by the temporary creature self versus something deeper, allowing us to start loosening those creaturely bonds.
All actions are motivated by love, the underlying force. Even hatred is just a reaction to separation from love.
Love is presented as the fundamental driver. Negative states like hate are seen as distortions, reactions arising from a perceived lack or loss of love connection.
Only conscious creatures choose the recipients of their love, unique capacity for directed love.
Unlike plants or rocks acting according to their nature, we have the conscious ability to decide where and how we focus that fundamental force of love.
And love is correctly focused when it aligns with the love of non-conscious things, meaning when it respects their nature, aligns with the law governing them.
It suggests true love involves understanding and acting in harmony with the inherent nature and principles of whatever we're interacting with, respecting the cosmic order.
Okay, the conclusion of the text. Experience partially frees us from selfish desires and external authority.
So living life teaches us some things, loosens some bonds.
Thus, conscious contemplation brings true understanding. Experience isn't enough on its own.
Reflection is what crystallizes the lessons of experience into real wisdom.
The interconnectedness of all things in cosmic unity is reiterated. We are one.
A core message throughout, breaking down the illusion of separation.
Understanding the law destroys that illusion of individual separation. Knowledge leads to unity consciousness.
By grasping the fundamental principles, we realize our interconnectedness and see beyond the separate self.
Conscious contemplation overcomes observational illusions to understand cosmic experience. It's the tool for seeing true reality.
Our senses can trick us. Our perspective is limited. Deep reflection allows us to pierce through those illusions and grasp the deeper, unified cosmic reality.
Then there are the ponderings, a personal summary, it seems, emphasizing oneness with creature, consciousness, creation, mind, cosmos, while observations remain unique.
A personal integration of the ideas, recognizing unity while honoring unique perspectives.
The call is be good, which is eternal, and be eternal, tending to creation cosmos. The path, contemplate mind, know consciousness, understand cosmos, live in mind. That's our destiny.
A concise roadmap based on the text's principles.
And the idea that cosmos was everything before creation and is now in everything.
Reinforcing that fundamental unity and the source.
Finally, the aphorisms of life and love, practical guidance derived from the law. There are tons here. Should we try to summarize the flavor?
Yeah, reading them all would take a while. What are the key themes that jump out?
Okay, for life, big emphasis on striving to understand our relationship with the cosmos and acting by the law. Wanting only needs, not excess. Forgiveness. Acknowledging the struggle of living this way. Cosmic mind is guide. Understanding our role. Cosmos welcomes love. Never too late. Love makes it easier. Aligning wants and needs. Few actually follow the path fully. Actions inspire others. Cosmos is experienced, not just explained. Contradictions hinder understanding. We return to the cosmos eventually. Every action has a reaction. The struggle is personal. Can't escape law's effects. Each moment is a chance to understand more. Self is the only barrier. Everything follows law. Conscious contemplation is the easiest way. When we contemplate law, cosmos works in us. Contemplated action reveals mysteries. Acting by law brings recognition. Suffering well is acting by law. Only direct conscious contemplation truly counts. Following law increases good. Equal access to understanding. Give love, get love. Law over personal gain leads to gain eventually, but not vice versa. Acting by law answers all questions. Happiness versus pleasure distinction again.
Wow, yeah. Very practical focus on living by these principles. Contemplation, aligning with law, managing desire, the consequences of actions, the accessibility of understanding. It covers a lot of ground for daily life.
And the love aphorisms. Strive to give love. Forgetting given love happens when we stop giving. Giving increases love, not acting by love decreases it. Ending life prematurely robs creation of love. Give love even to enemies. Love is the guiding light. Happiness is in giving love. Find happiness by overflowing with love. Embracing received love refills the source. Remember love experienced. Happiness overcomes pleasure. Acting by law is an immediate return to happiness love. Can only choose to give love, not receive it. Acting by law frees from doubt. Cosmos replenishes love. Every loving act returned. Don't hoard love. Wanting excess gives no love. Giving love is acting by law. No separation from law. Appreciate love in the morning to help give it all day. Give love today, more comes tomorrow. Righting wrongs grows love. Love is boundless if we're open. When love is total, all actions follow law. No authority can keep us from loving. When love is the only motive, law becomes second nature. Acting by law is embracing love. Every act of love eliminates fear. Bad ideas are nullified by love-motivated actions. Giving love is joyful, not a burden. Strive for love despite trials. Love is the only obligation. Better to give love for nothing. Love is the best word. Helping others shares receives love. Filled with love equals no wants. Everything is as it should be. Understand our place. Act by law as a conduit for love. Loving surrender of body after life of love. Ultimate state. Filled with love, given equally. See self in all and all in self. Then any way of living aligns with law.
Even more intense focus there. Love as the absolute core action, the goal, the state of being. Giving love, acting from love, becoming love. It's presented as the ultimate practice and realization. Very comprehensive.
It really is. So this has been a really insightful exploration into Cosmognostica. We've covered that interconnectedness, consciousness, the power of contemplation, and, wow, the fundamental role of love as this text presents it.
Yeah, hopefully you listening now have a sort of solid foundation for engaging with these ideas Kelly puts forward, a starting point for your own thinking.
And that brings us to our final thought, which we pulled from a section called Dreams. Consider this idea. Our individual self originates within a boundless, infinite consciousness, and our current limited perception exists within our own imagination.
That's a mind bender.
Right. What does it truly mean if we are, in essence, created aspects of this greater, all-encompassing I, currently experiencing a reality shaped by our own limited imagination?
It really makes you question the nature of self, reality, limitation. Where do I end and the cosmic I begin? Or is there even a boundary? Lots to chew on there.
Definitely. So we encourage you to continue your own deep dive into these ideas, see how they resonate, how they might apply to your own experience and understanding of the world.
Thanks for joining us for this exploration.
Until our next deep dive, keep thinking deeply.